There are more than a dozen Democratic candidates running to beat Donald Trump in the presidential election this year. But first, they have to win the Democratic nomination, and there's a long way to go before that happens. The primary season begins months, and sometimes even years, before a single vote is cast. The candidates hit the campaign trail, they make speeches, they make promises, they take selfies, they eat pork chops on a stick, they fundraise, and they debate. A lot.
Let's not do it right now.
Above all else, the goal for Democrats this cycle is to convince voters that he or she, and not their rivals, are the best chance the party has of beating Donald Trump.
We cannot simply be consumed by Donald Trump. Because if we are, you know what? We're going to lose the election.
So you've got your campaign, you're raising money, you're rising in the polls and qualifying for debates. But how do you actually become the Democratic nominee? It's all about winning delegates. And you do that by competing in contests in states across the country, and some matter a lot more than others. Let's start with the basics. Every state holds either a primary election or a caucus. Primaries are more familiar. Voters turn up at the voting booth, cast their ballot for a nominee, and leave. But caucuses are very different. They can be raucous affairs with open debate about the party and the politics. By tradition, Iowa goes first.
Thank you, Iowa Democratic Party.
As the first contest, it can launch a future president.
You have done what the cynics said we couldn't do.
Or it can crush a hopeful's dreams.
I am no longer actively pursuing the presidency.
After Iowa, the race is on to the next three big states: New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. These four states are very different, but they're key to winning the nomination. They help narrow the field and give successful candidates the momentum to compete on Super Tuesday. On Super Tuesday, more than a dozen states hold their primary contests. Texas and California are the most coveted prizes. Super Tuesday is a big opportunity for a candidate to pull away from the rest of the pack. The name of the game is to run up the score with delegates in state after state after state. There are nearly 4,000 delegates up for grabs, and whichever candidate earns the majority of these available delegates wins the nomination. But the primary contest likely won't end when a candidate crosses that threshold. If any of his or her rivals have the campaign and the resources and the money, they can stay in the race and fight until the end. Well, that's the goal anyway. This cycle, some Democrats are starting to worry about a brokered convention. A what?
What the hell is happening?
Well, a brokered convention would happen if no candidate arrives at the convention in Milwaukee with enough delegates to win the nomination outright. That would involve a lot of horse trading and backroom dealing, and many Democrats believe it's probably not going to happen. Either way, by the end of the convention in July, there will be a nominee, someone the Democrats hope can beat Donald Trump in November.